All right, all right. Peace and shalom, family. What's going on? Let's give it a second for us to get some more people in the building, and then we're gonna go live. Well, we already live. We're gonna get started. It's better put that way. So y'all see the title. I was gonna go live over the weekend, but didn't get a chance to Friday and Saturday. And most of that is due to a lot of the recent events that you've seen on the media in regards to this coronavirus, COVID-19, and the severity of it, right? And when I say severity, I'm not talking about the actual pathogen itself and the pathology of the pathogen. I'm actually referring to the livelihood of individuals who are being affected because of various quarantines and cancellations and schools being closed until further notice. Some schools have a 2-week quarantine. Some schools have a 30-week quarantine. In New York, schools are not, coming back. New York City are not resuming until, April 20th. You know what I'm saying? Was what the date that I got. So this is actually affecting people's livelihoods because now people have to find childcare, and now that might also be an issue to put your child somewhere in childcare, and being concerned about them being infected or affected by this virus. And then there's people whose jobs are closed, right? And some people have the luxury to be able to work from home, especially if you're in the realm of IT. Other people cannot, right? Some states, and I've seen that's more liberal states, are looking for ways to create a means of an allowance to dispense to people who are being affected by that. But in more conservative states, we don't really have those type of options available to us. So, understanding the coronavirus family of viruses, it's not the this variant that we have now, this coronavirus ID-19 is just one of many variants, right? And if y'all remember back in the day, back in 2003, 2004, there was a SARS outbreak. Well, that was caused by a coronavirus, okay? Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, that was caused by our coronavirus, okay? So coronavirus, as far as the family of viruses, is nothing new. Coronaviruses are mostly seen in animals, in certain cases, avian animals, bats, or whatever the case may be. And I'll touch on that a little bit. But when the situation happens when there's animal to human transmission and then human to human transmission, then that's when it becomes an issue. And the research has to go into why is this such a pandemic, right? And when I go over with you the numbers, statistically speaking, you have more to fear from influenza than this current coronavirus, okay? If you see the percentage amount of people who are dying from it, as opposed to people who are dying from influenza, there's more to fear for influenza. And I'm not talking, 1-to-1 ratio. I'm talking about the ratio in regards to the data, the statistics that we have for coronavirus and what we have for influenza. And you'll see the mortality rate is much higher with influenza, all right, than it is with coronavirus. So this is very important to note. I'm gonna bring some couple things out, share some information on the virus if anybody's interested in it. I know people ask me all the time, what should we do to prepare? Well, if you're like me, I went out to a couple of stores to get some last minute items to include with the list of items that I already had. And in doing so, it was a madhouse. I mean, there was fights breaking out at Sam's Club. There were people getting aggy and frustrated and bumping other people and rushing other people. And then it was lines that was going all the way to the back of the store, some coming out of the store itself at Costco and everything. It was a madhouse, if you go into a lot of these stores like a Kroger, or if you go to Walmart, or even other stores like Office Depot, because sometimes they have water and hand sanitizers, a Family Dollar, whatever the case may be. They're all out of hand sanitizers, right? They're all out of toilet paper. Toilet paper seems to be a very interesting commodity that people see as a high priority when there is a pandemic like this, a quarantine. I mean, you got to think about it, to be honest, I mean, if you're locked in the house, you know, you definitely going to want to have some toilet paper. You know, some people may not like to use paper towel or washcloth to wipe their behinds, but I guess people prefer toilet paper. You know, I mean, especially women, because if you see statistically in regards to people who are buying this, it's mostly women that are buying it because women typically wipe after they urinate. So it makes sense why women would buy more than men, right? But nonetheless, toilet paper is gone, hand sanitizers is gone, paper towels. You know, when people run out of toilet paper, then they get paper towels. That's gone. Lysol is all out. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because, you know, people created this meme on social media where they showed you the Lysol and it says coronavirus on Lysol. And they're like, look, you see, some people thought the coronavirus was in the Lysol. And then some people was like, you see, coronavirus is always been there. And I'm like, yeah, if you study SARS, if you knew about the SARS epidemic in China back in 2003, I mean, we've known about this. Matter of fact, the coronavirus family of viruses had been known since the 1960s, right? So it's not a new family of viruses. The issue is when you have animal to human transmission of the virus, right? And then from human to human, because so one of the concerns was in the Wuhan district in China, at the seafood market or the market that they had all these, it's like a farmer's market where they had different animals and so forth there. And it's believed that it was a bat that it came from. And it's interesting. I'm sure your article in regards to that. If it's just animal to human transmission, it just means that a human gets in contact with the animal, they get infected and they die, right? They're unable to transfer it to another person. But in this case, when it goes from animal to human and then from human to human, then it becomes a big deal. It becomes a big issue, right? And, you know, I'm gonna show you an article that explains the virulence capacity of the coronavirus and why the infection rate is so high. Why is it so easy to get it? And it's because of the adaptation via the mutations of the RNA within the capsid. You know, the RNA is housed within the capsid, and then you have glycoprotein spikes that come out of the actual virus itself, or virion itself, depending on how you want to say it. And then that, you know, you have attachment and then you have penetration, right? So the glycoproteins that stick out, they're designed to be a key on the surface of the cell. You have some receptors, and those two, it has to touch at 2 points for it to gain entry. So you have one glycoprotein locks in, second glycoprotein locks into the cell's receptor, and then you have successful penetration, okay? And the reason why those receptors are out there is so that the cells can receive things intracellularly from things that's in the plasma of the blood, right? So anyway, this is, like I said, this is nothing new, but looking to see the virulence of it, because in the primary host, which is believed to be bats, and shown in bats, bats have a very peculiar immune system. So they release what's called interferon, and that's called a cytokine. The cytokine is a some kind of signaler. I'm trying to find the best way to kind of define it in layman's terms, but it's pretty much when the cells communicate intercellularly. So intercell means one cell to cell, intra means within the cell, right? So what happens is interferon is produced by a cell that has been infected, right? The cell's been infected, the cell's aware that it's been infected. So the cell sends a signal to the other neighboring cells to let those cells know, hey, look, you know, there's something, some kind of pathogen, antigen that's here in the blood. It infected me. It got me, guys. So, hey, you guys, you know, express all of your antiviral properties in the event that you get attacked, right? So in the bat immune system, the bat cells, what happens is interferon happens rapidly, very, very rapidly. So that cell signaling goes out extremely fast in a bat's immune system, or just body in general. And what happens is all the other cells wall themselves off. And it's interesting because what typically happens when interferon is produced, you didn't have inflammation, right? Because it's various cytokines and chemokines that's going back and forth between white blood cells and cells to cells, et cetera. And that causes inflammation. The purpose of inflammation is dilation of various blood vessels. So that way white blood cells can get in and examine their area of injury and do their work, right? And then you have your antigen presenting cells, which are your white blood cells, like your macrophages, neutrophils that come and they eat up the virion and they break a piece of protein off of it, and they take that into the lymph nodes, present it to the T cells, and the T cells is your generals that then get primed to become a memory T cell. So that way they can go and launch a full-fledged attack where they can coordinate all different white blood cells and other cells in your body to attack this virion when it's in your bloodstream the next time they encounter it. And it also primes B cells, which then releases your antibodies. The antibodies are like, they look like little Ys, and pretty much is the protein that attaches on. It fits like a key in a lock, right? It attaches onto the virus or the bacteria. It neutralizes it and it tags it for extermination, right? So in the environment of the bat has a very, very efficient immune system to the point where high inflammation doesn't even take place in the bat when the bat is infected. So what happens is when that virus is infecting cells, you have transcription, right? And the transcription, pretty much what it does is that it uses the nucleus and it inserts RNA. So what RNA does is that it transcribes what's in the DNA. So that way it can be transferred. You have different types of RNA. But in the case of virion or virus, that RNA is pretty much all that exists in it, right? Everything else is there to secure the RNA. But what happens is when it affects the cell, causes damage to that cell, whether it's an organ, your pineal glands, or other areas of the body, right? And then it causes damage when the cells start dying, right? And then you're mostly killed, not just with the cells dying, but your immune system trying to protect you, right? It does a lot of damage in the process of trying to control everything. And as a result, you can die from being overwhelmed by your immune system, right? So what happens is when it transfers from the bat to humans, our body does not, our cells don't exhibit interferon, alpha and beta as much as we see in bats. So therefore, the other cells are slower to react to this infection. But what the virus does is that because in the bat's immune system is very hostile, the virus, the only way it could survive is to proliferate, right? Very rapidly, right? That means reproduce very rapidly. So when it infects, it produces as many virions as possible, and it strives really fast to attach and penetrate, etc. So because of the bat's efficient immune system, our immune system does not work like the bat. So when it attacks us, it infects us very rapidly and it proliferates very rapidly. And sometimes that can overwhelm the body, right? And it's so rapid that in any orifice of your body, right, where there's any kind of bodily secretions, right, whether it's your nose, your mouth, your eyes, your blood, if you sneeze, they're on the droplets. If you touch your mouth or your nose and you've been infected and you touch a surface, they can last outside the body anywhere from 9 to 16 hours. Depends on what surface is, the climate, its humidity, et cetera, right? But anyway, that's why it's become such an issue, because the transmission rate is very high because the virus replicates so fast as a means of adapting to the bat's immune system. And pretty much what happens is every time the virus infects and it reproduces, right, there's always mutations. And this is how it was able to make it from the bat to us, because humans are in so much contact, with these animals in these markets in China, that after a lengthy period of time, you're going to get so many mutations that a human is going to come into contact with one of those mutations is able to infect the body and actually attach and penetrate into the cell. So what happens is you may come into contact with it for so many years after a certain period of time, and so many mutations, when it gets into the human, it'll either die because the body will kill it because it can't attach and penetrate, or so many of it is coming into contact with the body that eventually it'll live long enough where it'll have a mutation where now it can connect and penetrate into the cell and infect humans. And that's exactly what happened in this case scenario. And that's why there's so many influenza shots seasonally, because influenza does the same thing. Almost every virus does the same thing and mutates so much. Even HIV mutates so much, right? That's just what happens during the replication process. And it's 4 major phases of virus reproduction, right? So I just wanted to just share that for people who may be into health, and people who don't know what's going on. It's interesting because, today I was minding my business. I was out with my family and I get a phone call from Sonetta. I'm like, why is Sundown calling me? You know what I'm saying? On a Sunday, it's random, right? And then he was doing a live stream show on a Coronovirus, right? And he had the God Killer on there. He had Unbiased Sports. He had Simon Hotep, and I think he had Dr. I know he had Dr. Maad on there. But he called me to talk about it, right? But before he called me, he had called Priest Danya Allah, right? And Priest Danya Allah on Maccabees Eating. Shout out to Maccabees TV. Probably going to do a special with Priest Danya Allah about this subject matter, because I'll explain. So anyway, so he calls me and he's like, yeah, Divine, wanted to give you a take on coronavirus. You're an anti-vax. I'm like, hold on. What you calling me an anti-vaxxer for? Like, I never said I was against vaccinations. I'm just saying vaccination should not be the go-to thing when you're sick. So if you're sick with the influenza and you're like, oh, let me get an influenza shot. I'm like, no, you already got influenza, right? Your body's fighting it off. Your body's getting natural immunity, right? There's different types of immunity. Your body's getting natural immunity. It was building up its antibodies, and the body's going to neutralize that influenza in your body. The objective is to eat right and take good supplementation. And that way, your body is ready and prepared to fight whatever comes its way. And when I say eat right, you have to get your daily value percentage intake of all your vitamins, your minerals, right? And then you have other items that are essentials and non-essentials in regards to amino acids that the body needs, fatty acids the body needs, etc. And then you have to make sure you're properly nourished, which means a human should get anywhere, adult, male, female, anywhere from 2,000 to 2,400 is your daily calorie intake. And that would consist of your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. The body gets energy faster from fats than it does from proteins and carbohydrates, which then breaks down, and that's what you get your glucose from, right? Your blood glucose from. So you have to be properly nourished, and then you have to have all your vitamins and minerals, because these things are essential for the immune system to work. And then the objective of you getting supplements is to do various things. Number one, it makes your immune system more efficient, right? It helps build up more cytokines, chemokines, and these are all messaging items, right? That cells use to communicate between each other, or that white blood cells use to communicate with neighboring cells, etc. And it ensures that the body is responding appropriately when you come into contact with viruses and bacteria, right? And, you know, when you understand that, okay, in order for me to be well, I have to make sure I'm properly nourished. I'm getting my daily calorie intake, right, every day, from the proper proportion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. And then I'm getting my vitamins, my minerals. I'm getting my amino acids, right? You have essential and non-essential amino acids, and I'm getting my fatty acids as well, right? You need your omega-6, 3, 6, and 9. You need DHA. You should have DHA intake as well. And there's other items that you need. Nutrition is extremely important. And the issue is most Americans are not properly nourished, and most Americans are not getting their daily value percentage of all of these items, right? You have fat soluble vitamins, you have water soluble vitamins, which means the body stores some and the body doesn't store some. So there's some vitamins the body stores, some that the body doesn't store. Your B vitamins, the body doesn't store it. So you need to continue to replenish that with the meals and stuff that you eat. And sometimes this can be difficult. And that's why I recommend people to get whole food, organic whole food source multivitamins, right? From a good company that is in control of all the processes from the farm to the actual capsule into your mouth, right? Because if the company is not in control with one of the processes of manufacturing, then that can lessen the amount of what's advertised on the actual back of the label, right? So it may say 100% vitamin C, but because some of the processes they don't control, and because of that, it becomes processed, right? Where there's additives, things are removed. The efficacy or the potency is limited of the actual item because of certain manufacturing processes it goes through. You don't even get everything from the vitamin, right? And that's definitely not good. So there's several brands that I always recommend that people get that you can trust it, because if you go to their website, they show you them controlling the entire manufacturing process. So you know you're getting everything, right? At the same time, you want to make sure that your foods that you're eating, right, that you're getting all your calories, and then you're getting as much nutrients as you can from your food, because people tend to get sick. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons why allopathic medicinal doctors will say, well, you're getting sick because sometimes you're predisposed to certain ailments, right? And they'll say that's because of genetics, right? Which is interesting because that could be the case, but a lot of things affect you epigenetically. So was the child breastfed? Like, were you breastfed from your mother? And if so, was your mother getting all the proper nutrients that she needed? Was your mother exposed to all of the viruses and bacteria that will be in an environment that she will be in, and that she have her antibody build up from that? And whatever she's able to pass on to the child. Child should be breastfed at least up to 9 months, right? That should be the minimum, right? Until whenever the child is weaned off of breast milk, okay? It should be before the age of 5, because by the age of 5, your body stops producing the protein necessary to break down the milk sugar. So it's important that the child gets as much of the breast milk as they can from a mother who's eating as healthy as possible, right? So that's one thing that can predispose the child, right? Also the child's diet, right? I know with my daughter, my first daughter, you know, she was vegan, right? We breastfed her as long as possible before her sister came. And then she was eating vegan, straight vegan, and then transitioned from vegan to vegetarian, to now opportunistic, but mostly vegetarian, right? And that's important because the objective is in those first crucial years from 0 to 2, you want to make sure the child's eating as healthy as possible, has getting all their breast milk, and that they're in an environment that is not riddled with different types of antigens that can cause illnesses, sickness, allergies, etc. Right? So it's a delicate process. And again, the doctors will say, well, genetics, and, you know, yeah, sometimes genetics, you know, there's some alleles in regards to genetics that can predispose you for certain things, but also you don't have to succumb to those things if you're treating your body well. Right. There's some books. If you guys are interested in nutrition, nutrition is extremely important. And I think this is something that should be taught in grade school. Right. Grade school nutrition should be taught, basic nutrition, and how to get all the nutrients that the body needs to operate, because a lot of these things can, if you're lacking it, can have a detrimental effect on your immune system. Right. When you come into contact with a virus or bacteria. OK. So nonetheless, I want to show you guys a couple things. I'm just freestyling, just talking with y'all a little bit. But when he called me and Ankh was on there and a couple of other members from the Arm Law Squad that I just mentioned, they all pro-vaccine, right? Pro-vaccine, pro-vaccine. Everybody needs to get vaccinated. If you don't get vaccinated, and I'm like, wow, it's the conscious community. Oh, shoot. And then secondary is like, yeah, and then you can eat healthy. I'm like, no. You got the whole thing wrong. You need to eat healthy and get supplementation, because supplements, I'll give you an example in regards to a virus. The purpose of supplements is to make your immune system more efficient. Like I told you, cytokines, and some of those cytokines, you get interferons and other items as well. Tumor necrosis factor from your Th1, which is your T helper cell 1. And you have a T helper cell 2, and you have T helper cell 0, which is the protoform of the T cell that then branches off to Th1, Th2. And the amount of Th1, Th2 in response to an actual injury, whether it's from a pathogen or whether it's from this cancer, and this is why you have tumor necrosis factor, which is responsible for dealing with cancer, and even interferons is also responsible for dealing with cancer too. Cytotoxic T cells, which are prime T cells that are designed to go out there and examine cells for issues there, and that's why cells have receptors, because it presents what's in the cell on the surface. The T cell comes over and inspects it, and if it sees there's an issue, it attacks it. It pushes a couple of items inside the cell, and the cell goes through a process called apoptosis, and that's programmed cell death. Cell dies, okay? And T cell goes on and on. But then you have NK cells, which are natural killer cells that don't have to make contact with the cell to determine that something's wrong and able to actually eliminate the cell itself so the cell can die. These things are important because when a cell is infected by a virus, the virus is the intracellular parasite that lives inside the cell. And some viruses have ways to evade the immune system, and some viruses can invade the immune system in the bloodstream and in the cell itself. So when you give yourself certain supplements, natural supplements, and I'll go over a couple with y'all, what you're doing is you're training the body, right? Because these help the body to be more efficient, right? And not only that, some of them are actually antimicrobials that you're putting in your bloodstream, and antivirals, which have what's called virucides. So certain botanical elements, breaks down to smaller components. Some may be a polysaccharide, right? Poly means multi-saccharide is a form of sugar, simple sugar. And other items, it breaks down to certain items, right? Components, small components that have an effect on the virus or bacteria that comes inside the body. Okay, so the reason why you want these constantly in your body, because you're making your body hostile for any foreign pathogen to come in. And some things interfere with the attachment and penetration phases of the virus, which is important, right? So this is why we say take supplementation, because not only if you get all your nutrients and you're properly nourished, that the immune system can work as efficiently as it can, then you're giving it some assistance. So you're making your body hostile to viruses and bacteria, so much so to the point where you may be asymptomatic when you're infected. You don't show symptoms, right? Because the body is already on top of it. Now, the virus may still be in your bloodstream until the body wipes it out. While it's in your bloodstream, you can still infect other people because your body is on point. You become asymptomatic, okay? So it's important to understand this, because in their mind, they push vaccine so much. It's like there's no emphasis on just naturopathic approaches to holistic health. And it's very sad. And I'm not saying they represent all the conscious community, because they're the minority in the conscious community. Conscious community sides with me and a couple of Israelite brothers, my brother Priest on your Allah. When we talk about health, we don't tell people, no, don't get vaccinations. I say, look, there is a percentage of our community, right, that do not trust allopathic medicine, and they're not going to get vaccinations. So what are you going to do for that part, that demographic, so that way they don't become a health risk or a public health risk to other individuals? You have to be able to present an alternative. And that is what I suggest. I said, look, this is who we're gearing it towards. And those type of people who are conscious about their health and want to make sure they take care of their bodies as best as they can, that's what they're going to do. I know me, I do my best to take care of myself. It's not always 100% like I would want it to be every day, but I strive so that way I'm as healthy as possible. So I have no fear. I'm trying to explain to people that coronavirus is going to be just like influenza. It's going to infect almost everybody, right? Some people are going to die from it. Most people are not. The amount of people that die from it is very slim. Does that mean that it's not an issue because people, not a higher percentage of people dying from it? No, anybody can die from it, but you have to be able to know if that type of trajectory is going to happen to you, going from your diagnosis to your prognosis. What's the likelihood that you're going to succumb to the symptoms of the disease that allopathic medicine tries to manage before you die? And when you look at the statistics of who dies because of it, we understand that as mostly immune compromised individuals, right? Especially elderly people. Okay. And this is the thing. It's interesting because when they tell you the people that die, they never give you all the details of the people who died. You don't know if they had other pre-existing medical conditions. You don't know if they had, or if they're being exposed to things in the atmosphere that's affecting their respiratory tract, because that's what coronavirus, it causes upper respiratory diseases, right? And that's what SARS is back in 2003, 2004, right? And it affects your upper respiratory system. So if you're in an environment where you're readily exposed to irritants in the environment and it's weakening the capacity of your lungs to do what it does, or if the individual has asthma or bronchitis, it makes it even more difficult if you're infected for the body to take care of it. So you have to really skim through things to look for these details to see, well, who died from it and why. You know what I'm saying? So when I call to speak to a group of people that I'm thinking is conscious, and they're like, well, just get the vaccinations, and I'm like, well, what about talking about holistic health? Like, why don't you just push people towards that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, vaccinations is good for people who don't care about their health. Go get vaccinated. But for people who do care about their health, they take care of their health. They understand basic nutrition. And I went over this in the measles video, the live stream that I did, you know what I'm saying, some months back. And I explained that. So it's just really mind-blowing just to see that there's individuals out there that's pushing vaccinations instead of pushing best health practices. What is your diet like? What is supplementation like? Are you getting moderate exercise, right? Are you making sure that you're nourished properly every day? You're getting your caloric intake every day, right? Are you getting your daily value percentage of all your vitamins, minerals, and extras, right? Are you getting these things, right? Do you have any other ailments or issues, or what are you doing to take care of that, right? People on medications. Medications also cause side effects, right? For various reasons, right? What is the condition of a person's liver? Liver is an extremely important organ. What about their heart? What about their lungs, right? So all of this is important to factor in when there's a death. And a lot of times when they report deaths, they don't tell you all these extra details. But when you see that it's only a small percentage of people dying to the amount of people who are knowingly infected, these are just what's reported, you see that it's really not a pandemic like they're making it, right? But at the same time, still take precaution. I'm never telling nobody don't take precautions, right? Whatever the CDC tells you, WHO tells you, your local, state, federal government tells you, you follow it, right? Hey, you follow it. But what I'm saying is you also have the proactive responsibility to take care of yourself, okay? And that's important. And everybody should know about basic nutrition. When I do my consultations one-on-one with naturopathtoeden, one of the things is just teaching people about basic nutrition that most people don't know, and then give them a resource. There's 3 books that I recommend, 3 great books that are, it's easy to read for laymen, right? Because I read stuff that's like academic level stuff, and then I read the stuff that academic level makes for layman levels, and that's what I recommend to people. You know what I'm saying? Not a layman writing to layman, but academia writing to layman. And there's several 3 books that I recommend that I give to people who sign up for naturopathtoeden to read, just so they know basic nutrition. And you know what I noticed? I would say maybe about 70% of the people, 60 to 70% of the people that I've done consultations with, the main issue was malnutrition. And they went and they readjusted their diet, took some supplements, and over time they got better, because the body, you see diseases occur when the body is not getting what it needs, or the body's being overwhelmed, right? Because the body knows how to take care of itself. You just have to do your part, right? And supply the body with everything it needs to take care of you, right? But a lot of people, when the body does not get all of its nourishment or nutrition, then the body starts exhibiting disease, right? And then you start having organ failures, and then you start having a lot of other issues. The body's not getting the things that it needs. So I simply teach them about that. And I say, look, here's basic nutrition. Try these recommendations. If this does not resolve your issue, then we'll give you other suggestions, because the objective is to educate them, right? I don't say, I'm your doctor, we're your doctors. No, you go back to your physician, but you also have the responsibility of doing your part, right? You can't sit there and just rely on a doctor to do everything, because they're just going to manage the disease. We're telling you how to get to the root cause and educating you what you can do, so that way you have a better prognosis, right? A better quality of life for yourself if you just learn basic nutrition, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Like I said, I love health, right? I read up on immunology all the time, nutrition, things of that nature, and just try to do my best, to help people who are in need, who otherwise will not be informed when these things are occurring, and I think that it should be the doctor's responsibility. But if you don't have a naturopathic doctor, they don't have to teach you about nutrition, right? They'll give you suggestions, but their job is not to teach you about that. So let's get into a couple of things. I'm going to show you a couple of items in regards to this coronavirus thing. What I simply want to tell everybody is I never scare people to the point where I'm like, there's no solution. There is a solution, right? That is proper nutrition and supplementation. All right. If you encounter it, right, the likelihood of you dying is slim, but it can happen. The likelihood of you dying by being infected by influenza A or whatever is much higher, right? But nonetheless, because the CDC, WHO does not have a control, they were not able to quarantine this thing fast enough. This is why it's become such a big issue, because now it's affecting people's lives. So DivineProspect, KHM, we do our part to help the community, whether that's through consultations in regards to health or raising money. And I'm going to show you what we're doing to raise money to help people whose livelihoods are being affected. I've seen that there's a lot of single mothers that are being affected, more so by these school closings and job closings, and you can't do any gatherings of 50 or more. So now people are not going to events, and they're not going to church or their congregation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's affecting people's lives because some people have businesses centered around events and meeting clients and stuff like that, and now they can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, it can be very nerve-wracking, right? And my biggest issue is not the actual virus itself. It's how people are reacting to it. It's really pandemonium. It's a lot of mayhem. And just, we don't know what to do. And we're going to try to do this just as a precaution. I'm just like, well, why don't you teach people proper nutrition? That should be on every channel. You know, if I had my own city, that's what we would do. If we had an outbreak, look, what we're going to do is we're going to mandate for everybody to come in, right? Because if everything's closed or whatever, that's fine. We're going to mandate everybody to watch, right? If you want an allowance, you know, to help you supplement for the funds that you've lost for not doing businesses, we're going to mandate you to watch a series on proper nutrition and supplementation. And then we're going to teach you what the virus is, the 4 stages of the virus, how to protect the body from viruses. You got to go through all of these courses before we can give you an allowance. Incentivize holistic health practices or best practices from holistic health, and people will not be afraid. And it's funny because people had put some things up and they're like, hey, you know, we realized that all of the vegetables and fruits are not even being touched in the stores, but everybody's going for water, which is an essential, toilet paper and other items, hand sanitizers, but all the food is there, you know, and you'll see stores that actually has supplements. There's a whole bunch of items there too. You know what I'm saying? People will rush there and get last minute stuff. And I'm like, no, just do your best to make sure you're taking care of your health. And getting sick once in a while is normal. That's not a bad thing. Okay, especially if your body's encountering something that it has not encountered before and it's being slightly overwhelmed. But if you give the body everything it needs, it will take care of itself. All right, that's not to say you're going to be Superman. I don't want anybody thinking I'm saying people are going to be Superman, anything like that. All right. So with that being said, I want to give a shout out to Sister Taki. Thank you so much, Sister Taki, for the donation. I truly appreciate that, sis. Thank you so much for your support. And again, we're here for the people. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely here for the people. So anyway, I'm not seeing what y'all saying in here. I'm looking now. Yeah. So the brother said, how long do you think we're going to be down? I don't know. The typical quarantine should be for 2 weeks. And why? See, they're not telling you why there's a 2-week incubator period that you have to wait. And that's because when you understand the process from infection to the point where your body is able, your adaptive immune system is able to get control, it normally takes 2 weeks. Right. So if you're infected with influenza, from the time that the virus comes into your body all the way to the time that the body is able to actually deal with it and able to calm down the immune system and the rest of your cells, because that's the cleanup part that your immune system has to do from all the damage has been done. That takes about 2 weeks, right, for everything to run its course. But even that doesn't mean nothing, because if you come into contact with somebody that has it and you're quarantined for 2 weeks and you don't have it, by the time you get exposed to it, you're going to catch it from them. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really interesting to see how people approach this thing. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not the president, anything like that, but it is what it is, right? Now, Sister Noelia, shout out to my sister Noelia in the building. She says she stocked up on lemons, limes, ACV, and another diffuser. And as you can see in the back of me, there's a brown item on the back on that table. That's my diffuser there. It has a light on it. It has Bluetooth because it has a speaker and everything like that. It's pretty cool. And we drop our essential oils in there and just let that go into the atmosphere. It's written off as aromatherapy, but inhalation of it is extremely good because there's a whole list of essential oils that are virucidals, right? Which means it kills elements in the oils kills the actual virus itself. So that's good to know when you have this in the environment, and then you have it on a couple times a week, just so that way you can take it in. If you are infected by the virus, that will definitely help, especially in the upper respiratory tract. And that's why diffuser is good, because these items come in directly in contact with your respiratory tract, right? Correct. Washing your hands with soap and water is better than hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is good if you're out and about and you can get access to soap and water, but the recommendation is that soap and water is more effective. I actually read an article on that some time ago, and I seen it again when I was doing research for something come up yesterday. So hand sanitizer, it's an alcohol-based solution. It's not always the best, especially because people don't know the amount to use for whatever they come into contact with, right? Because there's billions, maybe trillions of bacteria and pathogens that's out there. And you never know what you come into contact with. So you never know how much you need to use. And there is a rate of, I would say, a rate of effect of the actual solution on the actual virus or bacteria itself. You also got to know, is this virus or bacteria, how long does it live outside of the host? All these things are extremely important to know, right? So you're saying this is leading up to the main lockdown, or you saying martial law? I don't know. I think the only way we'll probably see martial law is if people start rioting, right? If people start rebelling, like if they put, if they told me, hey, look, you gotta be home in the house by 9 o'clock, and you can't, meet up with groups more than 50, and you got to stay home from work. And now people, it's indefinite. It's like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, and people start getting restless and taking it to the streets. And then you're going to see what's called a main lockdown. Then I think at that point, you're going to see martial law. But there's protocols in place from local government, state government, federal government before it gets to that point, right? But something like this can definitely prime that to take place. But it all depends on how people respond. And I think they have a good handle on people, because people is easy to manipulate via the media. So most people are going to fall in line. You're really not going to see that unless this thing extends to a point that's unbearable, right? But most people, they got them under control. They got most people under control. Most people are going to comply. Okay, so anyway, I don't mind speculating, but I can't say definitively this is going to happen because I don't know, right? I do know people who are in the inside, right? I know people that know people in the inside, whether it's government, military, whatever. They share information with me, right? Sometimes this information is good, sometimes it doesn't, because in those fields, anything can change at the drop of the dime. So they may tell me something yesterday, and they may say, hey, look, Judgment Day is on Monday. They're going to shut everything down. And then some new information goes up to their superiors. And then Monday comes and they change the game. That's what happens in the realm of politics and military, right? So anything can happen, right? But what we will learn from this is, I know for years, since I woke up and became conscious in 2008, about 12 years ago, I was watching documentaries on things like this, about economic collapse. And I'm going to show you guys about the stock market crash, the biggest crash since the 1980s. Okay. That is happening now because of this. This is deep. So it's not just affecting little things. And I tell people the best thing to invest in is not stocks. Stocks is good temporarily here and there. If you can afford to buy enough shares where it's not affecting you personally, you can afford to lose it. But you need a precious metals portfolio. You need to invest in silver and gold, right? Next live stream, I'll pull out my silver and gold collection and I'll show it to you, right? So it's good to have these items, right? Because these things will always have value, because there could be a situation where it could be economic collapse and you still got to pay bills. You still got to pay rent. You still got to pay these things. Okay. So it's good to have some form of currency that can be accepted even during those times when the dollar tanks. Okay. But you definitely want to invest in a precious metals portfolio and cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin and other things. Cryptocurrency is important. And you don't always want to reinvest your cryptocurrency, but you want to be able to acquire it and store it just like you do with your precious metals. So when a situation comes like this, you can actually take your cryptocurrency and use it to buy things like silver, gold, whatever the new currency is or whatever. And that's a deregulated market. So there's good and bad things about deregulated banking markets. But cryptocurrency and precious metals portfolio is extremely important, and also land. Having land or properties, all of these things are essential and vital. I know I have some cryptocurrency and I have some silver and gold, and I'm working on purchasing land, right? But you need one of these things, because if something happens economically, you need something to fall back on, right? So it has affected the stock market. It has affected education, right? Kids at a public school, kids at a homeschool, like my children, they go to private school, right? So they're not hugely affected by that, because all their work is done online anyway, right? They just get additional instruction when they're physically at their school. But, the most is, on top of that, they also get, child care as well, or after hours care, whatever the case may be. So they're not affected by that, right? Because they can do school, he can do school, there or whatever. But, my daughters are young, so they typically, will go to child care or daycare. So for the most part, education is not, the education element is not affecting me. And most families that are homeschooling, it's not affecting them either, because their kids are already being homeschooled, right? So that's one of the benefits of homeschools. And that's why I say situations like this happen so you can learn lessons from it, right? You can see how much pandemonium can happen when there is not enough information. When people don't understand the virus, when they don't understand proper nutrition, and you're being told just wear a mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, stay in the house. It's like, what about eating right? What about proper supplementation that people can take? So, I mean, to me, it's just mind blowing. But I mean, what do you expect, right? I don't really expect them to go that route, right? Because then you interfere in the pharmaceutical companies and allopathic medicinal arena, and they start to lose their money if you teach people how to take care of their health. Okay. So there's no benefit about that. Right. So you said if e-commerce goes, it's going to be very difficult for e-commerce to go down. It's not the same thing as the USD as a currency. But I'll probably go into crypto at another time. But cryptocurrency is important. And like I said, precious metals is important. And having the actual deed to land and property, right? Where you actually own the item and you have what's called a fee simple relationship with your property, which is extremely important. These things can be used to barter, right? In the event that there's an economic crash. In regards to curfews and quarantines, you have to make sure you stock up on all the foods that you need and water, okay, which is essential, right? Now, I think what I should do, because I've been asked to do this for some time, is do a PowerPoint on survival. And I'll do one on survival, right? Because I think that's important. People need to know that they have to have a bug out bag, and what should they have in a bug out bag, or what should you have in your house or in your car, or even outside your house in a car. It's good to have a family member or friends that also have these items. So that way, if you get stuck someplace and you're in closer proximity to them than your house, you know that you have it there. You should have these. We should have bug out bags at our friends and family's houses. Okay, so that way, if we're closer to them than our house, we can go there and get it. Okay, there should be one in the car too. If you're traveling, there should be one in the car, or you should have a few essential items with you if you're able to carry it, right? So anyway, I think that that's important, and I think I should do that. Tony Parker 151 says, "Are you a more?" Tony, are you talking to me or somebody in the chat? Let me know. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody in the chat. I have no clue. But anyway. So let's go into these articles. Again, if y'all interested, let me start off with this first before we proceed. We still have T-shirts for sale. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting our charity T-shirt sale. We've been moving shirts like hotcakes. Okay, I have one of them on right now. Right, this one that I have on right now is "I'm a Kingdom Harbinger." Right, and you got the crown and the shofar, and you have the scripture from Isaiah 52. We have these T-shirts. We still have the "Living the Rest Life" t-shirts, which I think has been selling the most. We have those in red, black, and green. Those have been selling the most. And then we have other ones like Death to Dogma, etc. So if anybody's interested in our t-shirts, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and let us hook you up. And shout out to everybody that has already done that. I also want to show you all about Patreon. So, you know, with Patreon, we do giveaways and you get exclusive content, and then there's benefits for various tiers. But we just introduced something brand new to and I want to show you guys to Patreon. And thank you to everybody that has consistently pledged to our Patreon. I mean, we've been able to do so much with those pledges. You know, I just want to thank everybody for that. You know what I'm saying? So let me get through all this other stuff first, and then we're going to get into a little bit more about the virus, and then I'll open it up for a Q&A. All right. Naomi, that's an excellent question. The reason why precious metals is important because gold and silver will always have value, right? It can always be used as an intermediary currency between two parties that want to barter for items, barter for something that the other may not want, right? You have to have something that has equal value to both parties that they're willing to accept in exchange for a good service or whatever that they're going to provide you, right? So you don't need a financial market in order for you to utilize silver and gold, because people already know that it has intrinsic value. Piece of paper called a dollar that has no intrinsic value. It only has value based on what's placed on it and your acceptance of that value. Okay. So nonetheless, let me move forward. So with our Patreon, you'll see the description. In the description, you'll see on the donations, Patreon is there. Please click on that. Please sign up for our Patreon. All right. We're trying to hit our 80 Patreon so we can do, and we're so close, we can pay a bill, right? That's the next giveaway, is we're going to pay somebody's bill. Okay. Somebody's bill. That means, everybody who's a Patreon is eligible. You inbox us your bills, whoever inboxes us are the people we're going to put in the drawing, and we'll pick your name out, and then we'll give you up to $200 to pay a bill that you have. Right. And especially in this type of climate, right? Who wouldn't want to get a bill paid? I know I wish somebody was doing this for me. You know what I'm saying? But, but that's the next drawing we get. We need 80 Patreons in order to unlock that. So that way we can do that as our next giveaway. But something that I added to Patreon is our book suggestion. So what I'm doing is on the Patreon, I'm uploading a book, right? I'm posting an image and a summary of the book, and I'm giving you a link that you can click on and that you can read the book for free. Okay. So this is something that I'm giving only to Patreons, and I'm taking books out of my digital library and I'm allowing you to access it from my cloud storage and read the book suggestion for free. These are tons of books. This is better than you having a Kindle or something else, because these are selected works that I've read through and that got me to the point where I'm at. So I want to give people who are Patreons free access to these books. Okay. And some of these books you can't get nowhere. And some of these books cost thousands of dollars on Amazon. I'm giving you access to them for free. Right. So we're going to continuously add just new benefits to Patreon for people that sign up, because we want to give that as a special thank you. So I want to show that to y'all real quick so you can see some of these posts here for some of these books that we uploaded already. Right, here we go. All right. So if you're looking at the screen, okay, this is the Patreon page. All right. Here's some of the posts. And as you can see, we have some books up there. All right. I'll go through them real quick. All right. So one of them here is called The Fathers Know Best, Your Essential Guide to the Teachings of the Early Church. And this book here, I give you the title and I give you a summary and then a link so you can click and read the book for free. And this is for anybody that's interested in doctrines from the early church fathers. Another one is Pauline Christology here. All right. Another one is called Remembering Abraham. All right. Which is a great book to kind of understand a lot of the essence that gave birth to the rise of Abraham and Israelite culture, etc. All right. Another one is called Slave Traders by Invitation. This has to do with the slave coast, which is off the coast of Benin, and learning how that came into development. Another one is called Myths and Mistakes in New Testament Textual Criticism, so you can understand the veracity of the manuscript evidence that's there for the New Testament. And there's going to be tons more books that we're going to be adding on a weekly basis that you get access for free. All you got to do is just go to www.patreon.com/DivineProspect, or go to Patreon, type in Divine Prospect, pledge, and you'll get access to all of these books here to read for free. And again, we're going to add tons and tons of books on here that you guys can get for free that you don't have to buy unless you want a physical copy, which is always good. But I'm giving you access to my own personal digital library, right? As a thank you to everybody who is signing up for our Patreon. So we need 2 more Patreon members so we can unlock the bill pay. And once you sign up, you also get this for free on top of everything else that we offer, right? And there's going to be more giveaways on top of this and other features that we're going to add specifically and particularly for our Patreon pledges, because they're keeping us financially in the game. So we want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters, okay? All right, so that's that, okay? So with that being said, you can look in the description. If you guys want, you can also do a donation super chat through this channel as well. You'll see where your name is, where it says post a comment. You'll see a little dollar sign underneath. You can click that, and it will allow you an opportunity to donate directly through this channel. All right, so if you want to do it that way, you can. All right, we also have Cash App, and we also have the PayPal links in the description if you guys want to donate that way. But I want to show you something real quick. So whenever there's a tragedy, either I'm physically there, right, in the aftermath, or while it's live, and you can go on this channel, watch videos of me doing that, or there's something that I'm doing virtually to help, right? So when I looked at the coronavirus situation, I'm like, all right, education is extremely important. People need to know about the virus, and you need to know the incubation period of the virus and how the body mounts an attack against the virus and what you can do to help your body successfully eliminate the virus from your body, and things of that nature. We also said, look, this is also affecting people financially or economically. So what can we do? So I said, look, aside from what we collect from KHM and those funds allocated to helping and that we dispense to help people in need, we also want to do something specifically for the coronavirus epidemic, right? Or pandemic. So we created a Facebook page and a GoFundMe. So I'm gonna show you this to you guys real quick because this is extremely important. All right, so just give me a second. All right. So I'm gonna show you. So we created a Facebook page that you see right here. Oh, yeah. Let me close that. We created a Facebook page. Wait, is this the Facebook page? Oh, here it is, right. So we created a Facebook page called Coronavirus COVID-19 Quarantine Support for Civilian Survivors, right? And the purpose of us creating this was twofold. Number one, to have a place where we post all the updates on what's going on in regards to the coronavirus. And number two, to market and promote our GoFundMe, okay? So if you see here, here's the announcements for the GoFundMe here, okay? And what we want to do is the people who are affected, right? There's a lot of people that are affected by this, okay? There's people who are single mothers that need help, or people who can't get any work because they can't go out. So what we're doing is we're raising money so that way we can grant funds to people, right? And we can be able to give while people are going through this, okay? And if you guys want to sign up for it, you see right here at the top, it says Coronavirus Quarantine Support for Civilian Survivors, because now we are in survival mode until this pandemic and quarantine is over, right? But it's hurting some people financially. So I said, look, let's start this Facebook group and let's create this GoFundMe and be able to be a support system for people in need, right? So I see people all the time talking about this coronavirus thing, but I don't see nobody helping. I don't see nobody actively doing anything, right? And I'm not saying nobody, but it's relatively few people that's actually actively doing anything. So I said, look, let me create a GoFundMe, and that way we can start dispensing checks, right? If you want to call it checks, or sending money to people who need it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna show y'all real quick here so you can see, right, our GoFundMe that we have up. Okay. So here's the GoFundMe here, right? COVID-19 quarantine support for civilian survivors, right? So far, we was able to raise $465, right? Shout out to everybody that donated. We greatly appreciate that. If anybody that's here and you want to donate, here it is right here, okay? Please go to our GoFundMe. Please donate something, $1, $5, $10, $100, $1,000. Whatever you can give, if you are fortunate enough through this situation where you're not financially impacted, but you can give to help somebody else. Okay. So we have maybe about 5 people that have requested assistance, financial assistance from us, that we're trying to offset with this GoFundMe. We've taken some funds out of our KHM bucket and have given to other people, but we have 5 people that are requesting specifically for this. So whatever we raise for this, we want to make sure those people get those funds. Okay. And you'll see testimonies of people who are receiving from us as updates on this page, right, soon. All right. Once the funds clear and we're able to give it to them, they're going to post a testimony, right? So you guys can see that we're actually helping people. But I was like, no, we got to do something about this, right? So what I will do is I will continue to educate y'all about nutrition and about the virus itself, and what can be done about it, right? And then on top of that, raise money to be able to give it to people that's in need. Okay, so like I said, we need more people that are going to be boots to the ground and get this work done. This is why, when I interface with these Christian apologists, it's not really serious to me. That right there, I do that as a response for our community, but there's more things that need to be done. I don't see none of these Christian apologists doing nothing like this. Not saying they're not giving to nobody, but I'm like, yo, you're raising funds for people who are civilians, who are upstanding, hardworking, and now they can't support their families because of this coronavirus thing. And y'all talking about a faith matter. Well, show me your faith and I'll show you my faith by my works, right? Like that's how we get it in. So anybody that needs help, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. If you need financial assistance, if we can help, we will. But that's based on donations that come into us, right? We may not have it, right? We may have it, but that's all dependent upon the people that do have, that support this ministry and support initiatives like this, that will be able to send money to people that are in need. All right. And remember, we also have our other page that's there on Facebook, and I'm gonna bring it up real quick. All right. We have our other page that's there on Facebook, and I'm gonna show it to y'all real quick. All right. Here's our other page that we have. It's called Iman to Iman for Yeladim. And again, the purpose of this is that if there's any mothers out there that have children and you have items, let's say your children got older and you have just spare items laying around, or you have items you never even use because you have so many items, that there are mothers who are less fortunate, and it provides an opportunity for those less fortunate mothers to kind of put out, hey, I need this, I need that. So if the mothers that do have it or are able to get it, they'll send it to us, and then we take care of the shipping, right? So we have this group here that if you're on Facebook, you can join. Please, if you're on Facebook and you're a mother, whether you're a fortunate mother or unfortunate mother, please sign up to this group. So that way we can start working together as a community, right? These are the little things that me and KHM that we're doing to help the community, right? It's small, but this is what we're doing. We're doing our part, okay? So when people talk about Israelites, what y'all doing in the community, I got a whole host of things that, y'all can just look at my resume. A lot of it is on YouTube, right? Or you can see the organizations that I'm a part of, and the things that I do behind closed doors. But the things that I do publicly, hey, this is out right here, right? So please, if you're a fortunate mother, unfortunate mother, please join this group. And please, those of you who are fortunate and you feel like you're unable to do anything to help, you can always give to us and we'll make use of whatever is given to us to help other people. Okay. So again, please, family, pledge on our GoFundMe. Help us raise enough funds, so we can take care of the community. And if there's any mothers that need help, please join this group and post it, and we'll do what we can to assist you with items for your children, right? This is what this is. This is items that you need for your children, right? The Yellow Dean, right? So we're doing what we can, okay? And again, I just innovate ideas to say, okay, how can we help? How much more assistance can we give to the community, right? Because there's so much spotlight on us. I'm like, okay, cool. If they're looking this way, you're gonna see what we're doing to actually alleviate societal ills, and you don't have to wonder anymore why people listen to this channel, because we give back to the community. We give back. We're gonna start back up our gift card giveaways for free, just for people tuning in 2 weeks. We're gonna start that again. All right. So y'all stay tuned. You're gonna keep getting free stuff just for being here. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get free stuff. All right. But again, special thank you to everybody that's already supporting our ministry, right? We're always bearing fruits from the things that people are providing us, right? And we're doing the best that we can, right? And I'm working on getting to the point where I'll be able to do this full time, right? And that's going to happen soon. Okay. So just keep me in your prayers about that, so I can continue to serve y'all with all my time. Okay. So let me show you a couple other things, and then I'm gonna end off. And if you guys have any questions, you can definitely ask me questions. But I just wanted to let y'all know that. Also, remember, we also have employment services, right? So if anybody's looking for any kind of employment, we have our Jubilee Manumission and naturopathtoeden programs. One is a debt elimination credit repair program that you can either join our referral program or be a consultant and make money. The other one, naturopathic eating, is our naturopathic health consultation program, and you can join our referral program, make passive income, or make active income by being a consultant. So if you need work, let's say, for example, you can't go out for whatever reason and you need some work to do, hit us up. We'll give you some work. You can make some supplemental income while you wait to get back to your major job. You know what I'm saying? Your main job. So, I mean, we're trying. We're offering things. Is this up to people to accept it, So anytime people say, what Israelites doing in your community, send them to Kingdom Harmony Ministries. Have them check out this channel, have them check me out as well. And everybody associated with a KHM, you'll see what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a game. Like, we're seriously and sincerely invested in fixing our community. You know what I'm saying? From the ground up. A lot of times Christianity is really a bandage. Right? It doesn't get to the root cause, and we try to get to the root cause. And it's not saying that Christianity has not helped and doesn't help some people, but we're like, it can go deeper, right? This is why we talk about reconstructive and restorative culture for more close-knit communities, so we can become autonomous. That is the solution, for Yah's people to be autonomous. That's the solution. But you got to work from the ground up. Before you can get to that point, you have to have a common code of ethics, morals, right? Social, economic, political dealings, right? What you call spiritual dealings, right? Customs that you perform that brings a community closer together, so you can build trust and bonds, and then you can get to that point of autonomy where you're self-governing and we can rely on each other. If we had more people supporting KHM, when things like this happen, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't care. We have a couple of chapters already, and we're building more chapters. Objective is to reach 10 more cities by the end of this year. So we can create these hubs or these safe havens, so that way we can become self-reliant on each other when issues like this happens, and we don't have to go outside of each other to get any help. And that's the purpose of it. So what I've done as a special bonus for a short period of time, I've made available the presentation that I did at our KHM Orlando launch event, right? So you guys can go and check that out. All right. And it gives you insight into the inner workings of KHM, right? And what our mission is, how we perform our duties, how we raise our funds, what is required for membership. We give all that information away. We are extremely transparent organization. We have nothing to hide, right? So when you watch that video, you get almost all the inner workings of what we do. You may not get all the specifics of how we perform it, because that's in our charter. That we work on. We have a draft charter, and we're going to have a public charter soon that you can check out and see for yourselves. But when you don't have an organization that's not transparent, you should be wary of that, right? Because you don't know what's going on. You don't know really what's required of you. You don't know where funds are going and how it's raised and where it's allocated at. You don't know the mission of the organization, if there's an end game or end state for them. You don't know any of this. We give it. So go back and check out the KHM Orlando launch event video, which is up for a limited time. It's going to be taken down tomorrow, but it's up now. And I've had it up for a couple of days if anybody is perusing the videos, and you'll see how we operate. Okay, we're extremely transparent about this. And again, like I said, we're doing what we can to help out the community. All right. So, you know, this is, like I said, when I debate people, like, this is really, I should really just do a preliminary and say, hey, look, what are you doing in community, man? Because like, you're taking me away from actually doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just sitting here virtually looking to debate people. Like, there's more to what I'm doing than that. Okay. Yarden, you can hit me up, inbox me about that, and I can tell you. It's not really courses, it's training. Me and you have to schedule our one-on-one. All right. So let's move forward. All right. Because I see Malak Daweed is putting a question up there about the border of blue in Banmidbar or Numbers 1538. Because some people say it's a royal blue, some people say it's a royal purple. Which one is it? That's a great question. But right now, let me just focus on showing you some things in regards to coronavirus. And once we're able to move past this, right, then we can talk, right, like we typically do on this channel. All right. But again, family, everything's out there if you want to give, and anything that we receive, we appreciate it. Okay. So let me show you some stuff, right? So the next thing I want to show you guys, right? Next thing I want to show you guys. All right. I want to give you this website here. I just want to give you things just so you can be aware of what's going on. Okay. All right. This is the World Health Organization website. These are rolling updates on coronavirus disease. So they typically try to give you updates as they get them. As you can see here, the latest one there is on the 13th, which is Friday. So there's probably another update later on today, the 16th, Monday. Okay. So the purpose of this is so you can get updates on what's going on. And the latest update is WHO, UN Foundation and partners launched first of its kind COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. A new coronavirus disease solidarity response fund will raise money for a wide range of donors to support the work of WHO and partners to help countries respond to COVID-19 pandemic. The fund, the first of its kind, enables private individuals, corporations, and institutions anywhere in the world to come together to directly contribute to global response efforts and have been created by the United Nations Foundation and the Swiss Philanthropy Foundation together with WHO. Now, one thing that I don't see here is how about them raising funds to give to people who are being affected by this? Well, that's where we step in, right? We do that. Here, it says WHO characterizes COVID-19 as a pandemic. Speaking at the COVID-19 media briefing, the WHO Director General said WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we are deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic. All right, so that's extremely important. And also they give you summaries on, their initial awareness of the disease and developments and so forth. So this is a good website to have just to know formally and officially what the WHO is doing about it, right? Some people could care less. Me, I look at everything, okay? Because there's some details that one group has that another group don't have, that if you don't have it, then it can affect you, right? So, let's go to another thing I want to show y'all. Okay. Right. Here's an interesting development here. They get mad at me because I have ad block up, but whatever. All right. So look at this. Walmart employee tests positive for COVID-19, prompting a change in leave policy. Right. New York Walmart has enacted an emergency leave policy for its 1.4 million hourly U.S. workers that allowing them to take time off without penalty if they fear the spread of a new virus. The nation's largest private employer said Tuesday that a worker at a store in Cynthiana, Kentucky, tested positive for COVID-19, a disease caused by the new coronavirus. The workers receiving medical care and condition is improving, according to an internal memo. The retailer consulted with state and local health experts after learning of the case, reinforces cleaning and sanitizing protocol, and the store remains open after Walmart conferred with the state government. Now, another thing to know about Walmart, there's one here where I live that is typically a 24-hour Walmart. Walmart is now cutting their hours. They're no longer going to be 24 hours after yesterday, Sunday, right? So you're not going to have no more 24-hour Walmarts, okay? They have set hours now, and you could just type in and look up that article. I don't have it up here, but you can type in and look up that article. So if you're like me, I went out and did a late night run at like 2 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, because there's hardly nobody there, and they're stocking during that time, right? So that to me is the best time to go. Even going at that time, all the toilet paper was gone, all the paper towels gone, all the hand sanitizer was gone, most of the disinfectant wipes were gone, but green leafy vegetables were still there, fruits were still there, and they still had natural items in their pharmacy section that was still there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is an opportunity to take advantage and get some last minute items that you are going to need if you have to buckle down and stay inside. So we were able to get enough items to hold us over for as long as we needed to hold us over, right? So I just wanted to give you that. If you are going to Walmart, employees can also be infected, right? So you could just be making a run to Walmart to get a whole bunch of toilet paper and water. It seems like those are the three things: hand sanitizer, or disinfectant wipes, toilet paper, and water are the main things that people grab. Okay. And then I think number 4 would be canned goods. You see people, a lot of the canned goods was gone, right? And I've never seen Walmart like that. I've never seen Walmart cleaned out like that. It looked really crazy. So I just want to let you know, even going to Walmart and buying these items, you can still get infected. Okay. And the thing is, you know, if you are infected, right, what's the likelihood of recovery? Very high, right? The likelihood of death is very low, but it can happen. I'm telling you, you can't die from it. I'm not telling you Black people can't get it. Like when people say that, it's like, what? You may have more Black people that are asymptomatic, but that doesn't mean they don't have the virus in their body, and doesn't mean that they can't succumb to it at a much later time, right? You got to understand how, when you study immunology, you'll see the receptors on cells for different ethnic groups are slightly different. So some viruses may decimate a particular demographic higher than others, and some individuals just have a more efficient immune system, right? Than other people. You know what I'm saying? An interesting thing that I was reading on is that there's individuals in China who take Eastern herbal, like Eastern medicinal herbs, and they're in constant contact with viruses and diseases there, so much so that when the outbreak happened with that smaller demographic within a large demographic, they were asymptomatic and unaffected. They didn't have no symptoms, but yet they had coronavirus. But you know what happened? The virus was neutralized in the bloodstream because of the medicinal herbs that they were taking and the fact they had proper nutrition. They weren't getting sick, and they're always in contact with these type of viruses. So their body will be more efficient when they are infected than we are over here, because we're not constantly in contact with bats all the time and other animals all the time like they are, right? So they have a more efficient immune system when it comes to certain viruses that by the time it comes over here to the Western world, we are being decimated by, they will be okay. So we got to look at these things. But I just wanted to show you this because I'm gonna let you know, even going to Walmart, you're not safe, right? So again, the fear is like, oh my God, coronavirus fear. But I'm like, wait, you got to understand how this thing works. And I just want to share these things with you so that you're informed. And if you join our group on Facebook, we have this information there right now. Okay. So let me give you another thing to take a look at, right? All right. I want to show you this article. I thought this article was very interesting. I want to show you this article now because some of y'all should know that Italy, Ireland, and Denmark are all, the country is locked down. Nobody in, nobody out, quarantine all over the place, right? Like I mentioned to you earlier, in New York City, the schools out of school to April 20th. Kids are out of school to April 20th. Okay. But let me show you this. I want to show you something else, right? Here in this article from Time Magazine says France and Spain to follow Italy into lockdown as coronavirus cases soar. Okay. It says France ordered the closing of just about everything the rest of the world loves about it. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the cafes, restaurants, and cinema. And Spain drew up plans Saturday to lock down its 46 million citizens as governments took increasingly desperate measures to put more space between people and contain the virus. More borders snapped shut around the globe. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S., which days ago barred travelers from much of Europe, will extend the ban to Britain and Ireland, where cases are on the rise. The president also disclosed that he had been tested for the virus. The results were not immediately released. That means he could have it. We don't know. China, meanwhile, where the scourge first appeared late last year, continued to relax its drastic restrictions, illustrating the way the center of gravity in the crisis has shifted westward towards Europe. The virus has infected more than 150,000 people worldwide and killed over 5,600. Now, what I want you to understand is that 10% of 150,000 is what? 15,000. So less than about 5% of people are actually dying from the disease. 5%. Now, that's still a good amount of people, but I'm saying like way less than 10% of people that are dying. And there's charts that I think I have here to show you the amount of people infected, the amount of recovery, and the deaths. The recovery is like this, deaths is like this, right? So you can die from this disease, right? You can die from it. So I will never tell you, oh, it's a hoax. And no, you can die from it, right? But what I'm saying is, how do you prepare yourself so that way if you're infected, that the likelihood of you dying is slim, okay? According to a draft government order seen by the Associated Press, Spain's government plans to impose tight emergency restrictions nationwide on people's movements. That is going to happen here in America. Some counties and cities and states have already done this, okay? They just have not enforced curfews yet, and they have not put bans in place yet, okay? But like here in Georgia, Kemp, the Governor Kemp, he had activated 2,000 National Guardsmen all throughout the state, right, to assist in certain areas, okay? Also here, Dobbins Air Force Base, which is not that far from where I'm located at, you have the 200 or more individuals was flown here from the Royal Princess cruise ship that was quarantined. We have 200 of them over here, and they have articles where they're saying that they're not getting adequate food, they're not getting clean blankets. The blankets are getting dirty, the food is dirty, they're getting they have a lack of medical attention getting there. And I got to say to people, look, I don't know what the expectation is when you're going to a military base for quarantine. They're not going to give you 5-star hotel accommodations. Okay, they're going to give you whatever they can spare because you are a lab rat for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or however long that they got you there. And that's the most scary thing, is that you can be taken randomly, tested, and if you have it, quarantined from 2 weeks, and you're like a prisoner for 2 weeks or even more, right? Where some people have been quarantined indefinitely, okay? And that's extremely concerning, at least to me, right? But then it says, in an echo of the far-reaching measures already imposed in Italy, people will be allowed to leave their homes only to buy food and medicine, commute to work, go to hospital and banks, or take trips related to the care of the young and the elderly. Those rules will take effect Monday morning. Today, there's going to be heavy sanctions against certain actions here in America in various states, counties, and cities on Monday, which is today. Later on today, y'all stay tuned for this. It's going to be kind of, really something to be wary of, right? Just be aware that I call this week Judgment Week coming up. This is Judgment Week coming up. We're going to see a lot of changes coming down the pikes of developments that happen over the weekend, okay? And again, this is why we're trying to do our part to raise money from the fortunate to give to the less fortunate so we can support. That's why we have other groups where mothers need help because they need items for their children. We have a group for that. We can help you for that. KHM, we also have funds allocated to assisting people that need it. People have access for funds. We had maybe about 6 people access for funds through KHM over the course of a couple of weeks, and we released the funds to them. Some people was a loan, some people was a gift. You know what I'm saying? Depending upon the situation. We do what we can, right? But we can only do what we can based on your help. So we need your help to help us help other people, because it could be you. And we want it so that way, if you're somebody that's always given to us and you need something, we want to be able to have the funds for you, right? So I just want y'all to know, look, these are things that's going on, latest developments. Also, I follow Donald Trump on Twitter, and I've seen his statements that he's put on Twitter, as well as his addresses that he has given the nation, and as well as the things that Kemp is doing, the Governor Kemp here in the state that I live in, as well as Mayor Bottoms and what she's been putting out, just to kind of get a feel of what's going on, right? There's always a lot of rumors and speculations going around as well. I take those with a grain of salt, but I take those, parse out the details, take the official statements from, you know, the political element, parse that out, and then interweave things together to see if there's a bigger tapestry that I can look at, so I can get more insight and be able to anticipate what's coming down the line. And that's important. So this is why I'm showing you things also on the official level as well. All right. So I'm just looking at what y'all saying in the chat. I agree. All right. So shout out to my brother S. McGee in the building. Thank you for your donation as well to our fundraiser, my brother. We appreciate that for your assistance on that. So I want to just get through this because I know some people have some questions, right? So I wanted to show you that as well so you can see what's really going on. Let me show you this as well. I got 3 more articles to show you guys that I think you need to see. So this is why I'm showing y'all this here. Let me get this one here. This one is, let me show you the market plunge. Okay. U.S. stock market suffers worst crash since 1987 as Americans wake up to a new normal life. Okay. The stock market crashed to its worst day since 1987, struggling off dramatic intervention by 2 central banks in a primetime address by President Trump as Americans realized the coronavirus will impose new limits on their daily lives. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted its largest one-day point loss in history, dropping almost 2,353 points to close at 21,200.62. In percentage terms, the 10% loss marked the Dow's worst day since the infamous October day known as Black Monday. The broader Standard & Poor's 500 stock index fell into a bear market, defined as falling 20% from a prior high. In an epic day-long rout, European markets suffered similar declines, with exchanges in Paris and Frankfurt shedding more than 12% and London's FTSE index losing nearly 11%. Also, there are people that have reported to me that they've had issues with their 401k because of the market crash. This is why your investments has to go into things outside of something being matched for the company you work for and into something that's actually that has tangible value. Okay. But here's an article. This article is from the Washington Post. You can go ahead and check it out to understand the stock market crash and the affliction that people are having economically because of this crisis. All right. So I just wanted to show you that because I felt that was necessary and important for y'all to see. Okay. I'm gonna give you another article right here. Let me grab it. And again, you can always go back to this video, pause it, and get the rest of the details, okay? So this video right here, all right, this is from the Washington Post. It's live update. CDC urges halting gatherings of 50 people or more. Federal Reserve slashes interest rates to 0. That is a big deal, okay? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is now urging a nationwide halt to gatherings of more than 50 people for the next 8 weeks, citing the risk of coronavirus. So if y'all are gathering at your camps, your congregation, your churches, events, do it at your own risk. And I'm not saying it's at the risk of catching a coronavirus, which mostly everybody's going to have anyway. But I'm saying, hey, something can happen to you if you guys are gathering and they discover that you guys are gathering. They're gonna say you're posing a public health risk and that they will quarantine y'all away from your families and from your daily duties. So be wise, right? Be wise. Be as wise as serpents. All right. If followed, the guidance, the strongest and most sweeping to date for the agency, will significantly increase the pandemic's disruption to U.S. public life for the next 2 months. Governments worldwide are already making tough decisions aimed at keeping their citizens safe. They did a typo here. I'm surprised. It's the Washington Post. But anyway, it happens. Here are some other significant developments. The Federal Reserve made an emergency interest rate cut to 0 on Sunday night. Outdoor retailers, REI, casino, hotel giant MGM Resorts, athletic clothing chain, Lululemon, and more joined the casket of businesses announcing closures. Iraq and Lebanon said Sunday that they were grounding flights as the two crisis-hit nations announced new measures to slow the spread of COVID. A slew of new states and cities, including Illinois, Washington State, and New York City, have announced plans to close schools and severely restricted their nightlife by shuttering bars, restaurants, and clubs, allowing takeout food only, or cutting hours. Chad Wolf, acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, said Sunday that it was unacceptable that travelers at U.S. airports were thrown into chaos in the aftermath of a travel ban on European countries. But Wolf said conditions have now improved. I know people that were stuck there for almost a week and could not get out because of this issue. And they had to go see a sick family member in Europe or something like that. It's crazy. It's serious. It's serious. And again, I'm trying to share with y'all these developments. Okay. Again, if you join our Facebook group, we add these details there so you can catch up these things on our Facebook group. Okay. All right. So what else do I want to show you guys here? I want to show you guys this other article right here. I think this one is important as well. I got 2 more left. Let me show you this one. Now, this one is deep, right? This one is deep. Let me show you this one, okay? This one y'all have to read for yourself, okay? This one is called Who is Getting Sick and How Sick? A Breakdown of Coronavirus Risk by Demographic Factors. This is what I was looking up. Now, this was done about 13 days ago, okay? But this is, excuse me, you can click up top on the stat website. It's called statnews.com. Click on coronavirus and they give you updates on it. Okay, so you can see what's going on. It's just like a one-stop shop to learn what's going on in regards to coronavirus, right? But if you read here, it says a new coronavirus is not an equal opportunity killer. Being elderly and having other illnesses, for instance, greatly increases the risk of dying from the disease the virus causes, COVID-19. It's also possible being male could put you at increased risk. You hear that? For both medical and public health reasons, researchers want to figure out who's most at risk of being infected and who's most at risk of developing severe, even lethal illness. With that kind of information, clinicians would know whom to treat more aggressively, government officials would have a better idea of steps to take, and everyone would know whether they need to take special additional precautions. Here's what research has shown 3 months into the outbreak. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but as you can see, is a lot of details. But what it goes into, it tells you about the old and young, right? The death toll skews old even more strongly. Overall, China CDC found 2.3% of confirmed cases died, but the fatality rate was 14.8% in people 80 and older, likely reflecting the presence of other diseases, a weak immune system, or simply worse overall health. By contrast, the fatality rate was 1.3% in 50-somethings, 0.4% in 40-somethings, and 2% in people 10 to 39. So that's my group, right? The age-related death risk probably reflects the strength or weakness of the respiratory system. About half of the 109 COVID-19 patients ages 22 to 94 treated at Central Hospital of Wuhan, researchers there reported developed acute respiratory distress syndrome in which fluids build up in the small air sacs of the lungs. And if you have asthma, the alveolar sacs, which are these air sacs they're talking about, it fills up with mucus, all right? So if you have asthma and then you get this, or bronchitis, where there's a restriction of the bronchial tubes, you can have more complications, right? That restricts how much air the lungs can take in, reducing the oxygen supply to vital organs, sometimes fatally. Half of the ARDS patients died, compared to 9% of patients who did not develop the syndrome. The ARDS patients had an average age of 61 compared to an average of 49 for those who did not develop ARDS. Elderly patients were more likely to develop ARDS, the researchers wrote, suggesting how age can make COVID-19 more severe and even fatal, okay? They go into men and women. The effect of sex on susceptibility to COVID-19 is less clear than the age effect, but preliminary data suggests men might be more susceptible. China CDC found that 106 men had the disease for every 100 women. while the WHO mission found that men make up 51% of cases. A study of 1,099 COVID-19 patients in Wuhan through January 29th found a greater imbalance. 58% were male. The China Medical Treatment Expert Group for COVID reported last week in the New England Journal of Medicine. Sick or healthy. The male-female difference in fatality rates and perhaps in reported incidents may arise from differences in underlying health. People with pre-existing illnesses are more likely to get seriously ill from COVID, and men have a higher incidence of such chronic illness as cardiovascular disease. And it's interesting because I did a whole lecture when I was in New Orleans on how to take care of this number one killer of African Americans, more particularly men than women, which is heart disease, right? Or heart failure. I went into a whole lecture and I showed you guys from the cultural disposition of the scriptures how to fix that problem. It's deep. It's deep. Go back and check it out. Go back and check it out. Okay. But anyway, it says, after taking into account the patient's age and the smoking status, the researchers found that 399 patients with at least one additional disease had a 79% greater chance of requiring intensive care or a respirator or both, or of dying, they reported last week in a paper posted to MedRxiv, a preprint site that posts research before it has been peer reviewed. The 130 with two or more additional diseases had 2.5 times the risk of any of those outcomes. So when they're looking at these test case scenarios, because they're sampling various cases, they're reporting these details back to you. But you know what? When you look at all these major websites and TV media, and they're not giving you all these details. Please go to the site, statnews.com, click on coronavirus and look this up for yourself. This is important. When people say, oh, people are dying. Well, the people who died, you know, what did they have before they died? What caused the complication that led to death? Okay. And again, I haven't seen nobody share this website at all, but it's extremely important because shout out to SJ Lewis. Yes, the med diet. That's what we talked about in that lecture. So I can tell you watched it. All right. So anyway, look, I'm sharing this with y'all. I want y'all to be informed. All right. Again, this is what we do. We provide information, and then we also try to provide financial assistance if we can. We're trying to do our part, and you guys are helping us. All right. Big Main saying, what lecture was that? All right, let me get that for you. Hold on. I got you, Big Main. Big Main, I got you, bruh. Hold on. Let me get it for you. Hold on. All right. Let me post that link in the chat for you. Here it is. It's right here. Okay. The name of the lecture is called The Divine Ecological Revelation of the Dietary Law and Its Connection to African American Identity. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, right? But the title sums up everything, right? But let me go ahead and drop that link here for y'all. Here's the link right here. All right. Please go and watch this lecture. This was an incredible lecture that I was able to do. It's so many nuggets and jewels dropped in there. I mean, it's a mind blower. Everybody here, please click on that link and bookmark it and watch it when you get a chance. I'm telling you, man, that is a powerful lecture. I've never seen nobody in our community break it down like that. And I've done my best to be at the cutting edge, to be innovative, and to break ground first when it comes to presenting information. And that's one of the results of that, right? So please, everybody, watch that lecture and check that out. It's extremely important. We also have a lecture on cancer and one on atopic dermatitis relating to eczema. And those are two health seminars that I share for free on this channel. I'm going to post the one on cancer because that's the latest one that I did, the one on cancer. I'm going to post that here so y'all can check that out. All right. Here's the one that we did on cancer. It's right here. Right. That's the one on cancer. And let me give you the one on eczema. Okay, that's the one on eczema. All right. So that's the one that we did on cancer, the one I did on eczema. Please check that out. If you know somebody that has eczema, that will save their lives. If you know somebody that has cancer, that lecture can possibly save their life. Please check them out. There's so much information on it, man. You know, like I said, I'm not just here you know, just teaching stuff. Like we're actually trying to give tangible results in the community, right? So yes, please check those two lectures out, as well as the one that I put above on the med diet. It's deep. It's deep. I'm telling you, it's deep. Check it out. Check it out. Okay, I know y'all enjoy that. All right. All right. So the last two articles, actually, I want to show this to y'all too. Let me show this to y'all. Again, I'm just giving y'all some stuff to look at. We'll go into more detail later time. I love this site here. This site is called Bug Out Bag Academy, or bugoutbagacademy.com. And what is a bug out bag? Bug out bag is a book bag that you keep all necessary essentials in the event of an emergency, or, you know, you did some kind of survival event. And in there, they have one blog that's called the 75 Bug Out Bag List Essentials. And they break it down to categories, right? So let me click on it so you guys can see it. And they break it down to categories, right? Water and hydration, right? Drinking water, collapsible water bottle, hard water bottle, metal water bottle, water filters, purification, food and food preparation, right? You have your foodstuffs, protein, energy bars, MREs, dehydrated meals, spork, metal cooking pot, metal cup, pot scrubber, clothing, lightweight long sleeve shirt, convertible zip off pants, underwear, wool hiking socks, medium fleece, blah, blah, shelter and bedding, tarp, tent, sleeping bag, ground pad, wool blanket, heat source, ignition source, tinder, waterproof storage, first aid kit, insect repellent, Mylar survival blanket, hygiene, wet napkins, hand sanitizer, all-purpose camp soap, small pack towel, tool, survival knife, multi-tool, machete, LED headlamp, mini LED keychain, candles, batteries, communication, cell phone, crank power charger, emergency radio, travel aids, self-defense, miscellaneous. Go to this website. It's called bugoutbagacademy.com. All right. And this is something that I know I have to update myself, but everybody needs to have these essentials or a bug out bag somewhere in the event that you get locked down or some other craziness happens and you need to be prepared. All right. So it's called Bug Out Bag Academy. All right. So let me go ahead and stop that. All right. So RNA duplication blockers, herbs. Yes. Yes. So I'm going to share that for y'all. I want to share that for y'all. I have, I purchased something today because I wanted to show it to y'all as well as use it for myself. That's really good for the upper respiratory tract. So just give me a second. I'll be right back. All right. So I'm back. So I'm gonna show you this, right? This right here is the truth. Okay, let me put it in the camera so y'all can see. It's called Clear Lungs Extra Strength by Ridgecrest Herbals, right? And there's 120. This one is the 120 vegan capsules. Okay, this is not cheap. This costs $38. I got it from Vitamin Shop. If you get it from Amazon, Amazon sells it for $50. Okay. This thing gets great. If you go and look at the ratings and reviews for it is excellent, right? I can attest to it. This is a result of Eastern or Chinese medicinal herbs, okay? Now, I want to show you something before we go, before I open up the Q&A, right? And before I end off, if you are having upper respiratory tract issues, this right here could be a lifesaver, right? And those are some of the symptoms that you're going to exhibit if you are infected by coronavirus or COVID-19, okay? The ingredients in here, I don't know if y'all can see all of it. I don't know how clear it's showing on here. But a lot of these items are from what we call Chinese medicinal herbs, okay? And then at the bottom, they have a Avela Blend Bioavailability Complex with Sichuan, pepper, ginger root, black pepper, habanero pepper. Okay, these are great blood purifiers, etc. Okay, this right here will definitely help you if you're having any upper respiratory issues, and you want to make sure that your lungs is in tip-top shape if you get infected with this pathogen that can induce disease. Okay, so this is one item, and there's several other ones like this that have Chinese medicinal herbs in it, but I want to show you something real quick before we go, because again, I try to give some suggestions. I'm not telling you this is the cure-all. That's not what I'm saying. All right. I'm just saying I'm giving you some suggestions so you can be proactive with your health in the event that you get sick. Okay. What question you talking about? What's your question? You said, I'm curious if they make it mandatory. What's their repercussions of not taking it? What are you talking about? A vaccine? His beautiful truth. I'm sorry, sis. It was not my intention. My apologies. I'm working on it. Israel Lewis, are you talking about a vaccine? If you don't take the vaccine, what can happen? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So anyway, let me keep moving forward, right? So I shared that with y'all. Let me grab this real quick. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. All right. So I want to share this with y'all before we get to the solution. Because we got to understand a little bit about the virus. I'm gonna give you some sources so you can read up on the virus. And then what you can do to be proactive. All right. I appreciate that, Deborah. Appreciate that. So Israel Lewis, if you reject a mandatory vaccination, there could be, I'm sure there are some, there's going to be a big issue behind that medically. What it is, it depends on what county, city, state that you're in, what part of the world that you're in. It all depends, right? So, you know, it depends on the severity of the matter, etc. If you're exempting yourself for medical purposes, religious purposes, some states you can get away with it. Some states are extremely strict and it's difficult to get away with it. It depends on the county, city, and state that you're in. Okay. But nonetheless, I just want to just get this done. Right. So appreciate the question, but let me just move forward. Right. All right. So I want to show you this link real quick. Okay. Now, what's funny to me is that when I was earlier yesterday, because it's Monday now, but earlier yesterday, when I was on the line with Sonetta and Ankh, and I started to talk about what I'm showing to you right here, he said that this was pseudo. And it's funny because it's on Science Daily, which is, I mean, one of the best sites to go to for science articles, medical journal articles, etc. And a site that he even uses himself. That it tells you about the virulence of coronavirus and why, as far as bats are concerned. It's crazy that people come out and they say random stuff and they don't even know what they're talking about, right? So when you look at this here, this pretty much explains to you, you know, why bat viruses are so deadly, right? So the summary is a study of cultured bat cells shows that their strong immune systems constantly primed to respond to viruses can drive viruses to greater virulence. Modeling bat immune systems on a computer, the researchers showed that when bat cells quickly release interferon upon infection, other cells quickly wall themselves off. This drives viruses to faster reproduction. The increased virulence and infectivity wreak havoc when these viruses infect animals with tamer immune system like humans. It's no coincidence that some of the worst viral disease outbreaks in recent years, SARS, MERS, Ebola, Marburg, and likely the newly arrived 2019 NCOV virus originated in bats. A new University of California, Berkeley study finds that bats' fierce immune response to viruses could drive viruses to replicate faster, so that when they jump to mammals with average immune systems, such as humans, the viruses wreak deadly havoc. All right. Some bats, including those known to be the original source of human infections, have shown to host immune systems that are perpetually primed to mount defenses against viruses. Viral infection in these bats leads to a swift response that walls the virus out of cells. While this may protect the bats from getting infected with high viral loads, it encourages these viruses to reproduce more quickly within a host before a defense can be mounted. This makes bats a unique reservoir of rapidly reproducing and highly transmissible viruses. While the bat can tolerate viruses like these, when these bat viruses move into animals that lack the fast response immune system, the viruses quickly overwhelm their new hosts, leading to high fatality rates. Some bats are able to mount this robust antiviral response, but also balance it with an anti-inflammation response, said Kara Brook, a postdoctoral Miller Fellow at UC Berkeley and the first author of the study. Our immune system would generate widespread inflammation if attempting the same viral strategy, but bats appear uniquely suited to avoiding the threat of immunopathology. These researchers note that disrupting bat habits appears to stress these animals and make them shed even more virus in their saliva, urine, and feces that can infect other animals. You can go read the rest of this article. I'm not going to read all of it. I'll go down to the bottom, and it says, these researchers noted that many of the bat viruses jump to humans through animal intermediary. SARS got to humans through the Asian palm civet, MERS via camels, Ebola via gorillas and chimpanzees, Nipah via pigs, Hendra via horses, and Marburg through African green monkeys. Nonetheless, these viruses still remain extremely virulent and deadly upon making the final jump into humans. Brook and Boots are designing a more formal model of disease evolution within bats in order to better understand virus spillover into other animals and humans. All right. So I want to show you this so you can understand why this medical industry is freaking out so much in regards to COVID-19. Right. And it's because of its source and its high rate of infectability. OK, so I just wanted to show that to y'all in case any of y'all are interested in actually looking into this. But here you go. All right. Thank you so much, Van Coates. I'm doing my best. All right. So I showed that to you to show you this article here. And I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to show it to y'all in case you're interested in actually researching on this virus. Again, you're only as safe as the information you have and as much as you know. When you're ignorant and you don't know, there's a higher prevalence to fear and angst and nervousness and anxiety. So what I simply am doing is keeping you up to date on what's going on the world scale and how the world is responding to it, but also letting you know, getting you familiar with the virus itself, and then what you can do to add supplements to your diet in conjunction with proper nutrition. Okay. And again, if you want any books on that, just email me, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll send you free nutrition books. All right. Because everybody should know about basic nutrition. Right. And supplementation. There's other books that I have as well, as far as medicinal herbs, and I have some great books on that as well. Okay. So all of this stuff is important. Okay. And I see the question people asking, how does this relate to the scriptures and all of that? I got you. Okay. But let's stick to this. Right. So I want you guys to go and check out this article that you guys can check out for yourselves. I want you to see this article. Just give me a second to pull it up. All right. This article, let me zoom in because I think they're a little bit small. Here we go. All right. So this article is called Features, Evaluation, and Treatment of Coronavirus COVID-19. Okay. Now, the reason why you want to read this is because it introduces you to the actual virus. Okay. It goes, according to the World Health Organization, viral diseases continue to emerge and represent a serious issue to public health. In the last 20 years, several viral epidemics, such as the severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, SARS, in 2002, 2003, H1N1 influenza in 2009 have been recorded. Most recently, the Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus was first identified in Saudi Arabia in 2012. And a timeline that reaches the present day, an epidemic of cases with unexplained low respiratory infections detected in Wuhan, the largest metropolitan area in China's Hubei province, was first reported to the WHO country office in China on December 31st, 2019. Published literature can trace the beginning of symptomatic individuals back to the beginning of December 2019. As they were unable to identify the causative agent initially, these first cases were classified as pneumonia of unknown etiology. The Chinese Center of Disease Control and Prevention and local CDCs organized an intensive outbreak investigation program. The etiology of this illness is now attributed to a novel virus belonging to the coronavirus family, COVID-19. All right. They go, COV have become the major pathogens of emerging respiratory disease outbreaks. They are a large family of single-stranded RNA viruses, plus ssRNA that can be isolated in different animal species for reasons yet to be explained. These viruses can cross species barriers and cause in humans illness ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as MERS and SARS. Interestingly, these latter viruses have probably originated from bats and then moving into other mammalian hosts. The Himalayan palm civet for SARS-CoV and the dromedary camel for MERS-CoV before jumping to humans. The dynamics of SARS-CoV-2 are currently unknown, but there is speculation that it also has an animal origin. All right. Then it goes more in detail into the etiology, if you're interested in that, transmission. All right. Epidemiology in regards to it, pathophysiology, if you want to get into it, histopathology, history and physical. You know, it gets deep. You know, uncomplicated mild illness. These patients usually present with symptoms of an upper respiratory tract viral infection, including mild fever, coughs, sore throat, nasal congestion, malaise, headache, muscle pain, malaise. Signs and symptoms of a more severe disease, such as dyspnea, are not present. Moderate pneumonia, severe pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome. This is what people typically get when they have or when they are infected by coronavirus 19. All right. Sepsis, which is important because this is, you know, when you go into septic shock, that's like the poisoning of your blood or the bloodstream. And then they give you an evaluation of it based on that treatment and management that they're currently performing in regards to that. Prevention they go into, and just a lot of details, right? This is a great read for anybody that's into medical articles, journals, and anybody that's just interested in learning about this actual disease. Okay. So I want to show that to y'all so you can go back and research that on your own time. Because I can't, you know, read all of it given time, but you can go and check it out. All right. Thank you, Yardinia Strong. I appreciate that. I'm trying to do my best, right? Each one, reach one, teach one. Okay. All right. So now here's the zenith of our discussion. Let me show y'all some solutions if you're interested on top of basic nutrition, getting your proper nourishment, your proper nutrition. Here's some supplemental suggestions. I've mentioned this before when I was talking about measles, but we're going to talk about coronavirus, right? And I'm going to point out coronavirus, right? I gave you one good right here, one good suggestion that you guys can get. It's called Clear Lungs. This thing is potent and is extremely, extremely efficient, right? And in good lung health. Okay, so I recommend you guys get this if you can. All right, you can get it from Vitamin Shop like me, get it from a Sprouts, Whole Foods, or order it from Amazon. Okay, they're not gonna have it at Walmart. Okay, and if they did, it probably would still be there because people are not thinking about getting this, right? But let's go ahead and look at these last articles so we can get some solutions, and then I'll take a couple of Q&As and I'm out. Okay, because I'm tired. I got a long day later on today, and I got paperwork I gotta finish once I end with you guys. So I want to get a head start on that, okay? Because I'm getting tired. I want to make sure I'm done with everything tonight before I get too tired. But I'm still here to serve y'all, okay? So let me show this to y'all real quick, okay? I'm gonna show you my screen real quick. All right, now this article here is called Antiviral Natural Products and Herbal Medicines. Right, it's on the NCBI website. You can type it in, search it for yourself. And it says viral infections. And I read this article before on this channel when I was going over the measles situation. Viral infections play an important role in human diseases, and recent outbreaks in the advent of globalization and ease of travel have underscored their prevention as a critical issue and safeguarding public health. Despite the progress made in immunization and drug development, many viruses lack preventive vaccines and efficient antiviral therapies, which are often beset by the generation of viral escape mutants. Thus, identifying novel antiviral drugs is of critical importance, and natural products are an excellent source for such discoveries. In its mini review, we summarize the antiviral effects reported for several natural products and herbal medicines. Now, the coronavirus that caused SARS is extremely similar to the coronavirus now that's causing this ARDS, okay, when you COVID-19. So the things that you would typically take for that SARS outbreak, you can also implement for this current outbreak, just as a preventive measure, right? So when we scroll down in this article, right, you'll see right here, let me zoom in. This is for people who are health nerds like me, okay? Antiviral effects from several natural products and herbal medicines against specific viruses. Here, as you can see, they have coronavirus labeled here, and they give you several items here, right? Proposed mechanisms of what it does, right? So your protease inhibitor, PROS is short for protein, and ASE is your amino acid that affects or works on protein. And here it deals with SARS-CoV-3-CLE, protease inhibitor. An inhibitor is something that stops something. So protein, or the breakdown or synthesis of proteins, happens during RNA transcription. So this is an inhibitor that stops that process from happening when the virus is trying to do this, okay? And it tells you what these things do. Induction of type 1 interferon response. So when you get the Zio Chai Hu Tang, what this herbal prescription is, when you get it, what it does is that interferon is the signal that is sent out that warns other cells to prepare for invasion. Okay, so that way the efficiency of the virus's infectability rate is much low. Okay, so this helps to induce or increase interferon in the body, so that way when a virus comes in, the body's already primed to respond to it. Okay, so it shows you all of these different herbal medicines and what their mechanisms are, right? How they affect the virus. Okay, and then we got the references actually here in the article. But if you scroll down right here, it says CoV is an enveloped positive sense single-stranded RNA, which our CoV ID-19 is, virus belonging to the Coronavirus family. The CoV family consists of several species. Hold on, let me get some water. Mouth dry. And causes upper respiratory tract and gastrointestinal infections in mammals and birds. In humans, it mainly causes common cold, but complications including pneumonia and SARS can occur, right? The known human CoV includes HCoV-229E, OC43, NL63, HKUI, and then we have COVID-19. And the more widely known severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, SARS, which caused a global threat with high mortality in 2003. In 2012, the World Health Organization designated a sixth type of HCoV infection, identified as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus, or MERS-CoV, which is associated with high fatality, right? There are no specific treatments for CoV infection, and preventive vaccines are still being explored. Just like for this one, there's no vaccinations. It could take 12 to 18 months to get a vaccine out on the market, okay? Thus, the situation reflects the need to develop effective antivirals for prophylaxis and treatment of CoV infection. We have previously reported that cyclosaponins A, B2, C, and D, which are naturally occurring triterpene glycosides, isolated from medicinal plants, and it gives you the medicinal plants there, right? They have Chinese names, exert antiviral activity against HCoV-22E9. Upon co-challenge with the virus, these natural compounds effectively prevent the early stage of HCoV-22E9 infection, including viral attachment and penetration. Remember, I told you there's several phases. The first phase is your attachment. You have to have two glycoproteins attached onto the two receptors of the cell. And then once they interconnect, then you have your transmission of the virus, putting its information into the cell, which then goes to your nucleus and then hijacks the nucleus to create more RNA for the virus. Okay, so it shows you what it affects, right? It affects the viral attachment and penetration. Now, depending upon what phase of the infection you're in, if you are initially exposed to it, you want something that is going to work on the viral attachment and penetration phase, so that way the virus is in the bloodstream. It cannot get into the cells, and it's vulnerable to the immune system, and that's how you want it. But if you're already infected, you want some items that's going to inhibit it while it's trying to reproduce within the cell. Okay. So, and it says natural inhibitors against the SARS-CoV enzymes such as NSP13, helicase, and 3CL protease have been identified as well, included myrectin, scutelarine, and phenolic compounds, and it gives you the medicinal plants it is, and other anti-CoV natural medicines include the water extract from this right here, H. cordata, which has been observed to exhibit several antiviral mechanisms against SARS-CoV, such as inhibiting the viral 3CLE protease and blocking viral RNA-dependent RNA polymerase activity. So this RNA-dependent RNA polymerase activity is the transcription that's done in the cell once it's infected by the virus, and it inhibits the protease, or the synthesis of the proteins in the cell that's necessary in order for the transcription of the RNA. So this helps when you have been infected. So exposure, you want to have medicinal herbs in you for exposure. That's going to help with attachment or interfere with attachment and penetration. And then infection, for some viruses have successfully infected you. You want to affect its replication process within the cell, so that way it just stops, meaning that it starts reproduction and then its protease gets inhibited. It can't synthesize no more proteins and it just stuck. You know, the factory line is just shut down, right? And eventually that cell will die off and the virus will die with it, right? So you want to be able to take medicinal herbs that's going to affect every phase of the virus's replication, right, and reproduction, okay? And these are some examples. So several Chinese medicinal herbs that you can get from, over the counter, or you can go to a naturopathic doctor and they can prescribe them to you. But you want to be able to get the ones that affect the 4 major stages of viruses reproduction, okay? And here are some suggestions. I showed you one thing that I have here. It's called Clear Lungs. This does an excellent job as well. This helps as well. And there's several other items you can get as well in regards to medicinal herbs, right? So I think there's another one I can show you guys right now. Okay, hold on. Let me grab it here. Let me get it. All right, so I'm going to show you, where is it at? I can't find the item. I can't. You know what I'll do? When I find it, I'll post it in the description link for y'all, because I don't have it up here and I have to look for it, but I don't have it at the moment. But what I will say to y'all also, one thing that was occurring with me and probably a lot of y'all is that I would get emails from businesses that send me newsletters and items that will actually give an official statement. That's how I knew that this was serious, when companies and corporations email you and give you their official statement, like Frontier Airlines, Delta Airlines. I got it from Petco. I got it from Vitamin Shop. I got it from what else? Micro Center. I got it from Best Buy. I was getting official statement emails from the CEO of all of these companies about the things and precautions that they're taking in regards to coronavirus, or COVID-19. When I started seeing these emails come in before all of these bans and quarantines, I knew this is a serious deal. Okay, this is definitely a serious deal. All right. So I'm gonna stop there, family. There's so much more stuff that I can get, but I'm gonna stop there. Can you put the link in the chat? The link for the article. Let me drop it here. Oh, that's a good find, Donnell. Cool. S. McGee, yes, that is just being responsible, right? So we see from the article that I showed y'all, the demographic that is more likely to succumb to illness. So I would say social distancing. If you know anybody that are elderly, they should be getting proper nourishment, nutrition, and supplements, right? That they can tolerate based on physicians' suggestions or requests. So the objective is not just to keep away from the elderly, but educate them on what's going on so they could be protected, or anybody that is immune compromised, right? So SG Lewis, tell me which link you want. Tell me which link you want, and I'll drop it in there. Just tell me what link you want. All right. So again, family, please go to our GoFundMe. Right. I'm gonna answer questions, but I'm gonna leave the GoFundMe up because I would love for y'all to give if you can, so we can help more people, as many people as possible, so we don't have to turn nobody down. And that's my goal, is not to be able to turn anybody that requests, that we don't have to turn anybody down. All right. So that's the link for the GoFundMe. And then I will you want it for the medicinal herbs. All right, let me pull that one back up. Here's another one. I'll just drop this in the chat so you guys have it. And let me get the other one that I just had. It's this one right here. All right. So everything there is in the chat for y'all. Okay. So I'm done for right now because it's getting late and I'm tired. And it's affecting my mental and verbal acuity. But if y'all have any last minute question, let me know. Let me respond to that. But please pledge, if you can, to our COVID-19 quarantine support for civilian survivors GoFundMe, so we can raise enough money to help everybody that requests for assistance through these trying times. We're trying to do our part, but we need your help to do it. All right. So Malak, in regards to the color, that is something that has been hotly debated a lot in regards to academia. There is like a bluish purple color, and the likening of it is trying to find something in the text that's liking unto that color, right? So it's fun that you're giving this to me right now, because I wasn't even thinking about expounding on this, but let me see if I can pull something up for you real quick. All right. So our word tekeleth, right? Tekeleth, that's there. You'll see that the color purple is there, or some people say violet, or it can be rendered as blue. One good way to kind of like, I would say, juxtapose it or contrast it is by looking at other texts that give you that word there. And I'm gonna give you an example of what we mean. When you go to Exodus chapter 25 and verse 4, right? Let me pull it up for you real quick, right? Exodus, well, I'll read verse 1. Yah said to Moses, speak to the people of Israel that they take from me a contribution from every man whose heart moves him. You shall receive the contribution from me. And this is the contribution that you shall receive from them: gold, silver, bronze, blue and purple and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen, goat's hair. And it goes on and on. Verse 4 says blue and purple, a juxtaposition of two colors. Okay. So if you go and you look at these words for blue, you have your word there for tekaleth, right? And then you have your word there for what's deemed as to be purple, or like a burgundy, reddish purple. And that's argamon, right? So argamon is a word that's really translated as purple, right? So we know that there's a distinction in regards to colors here, right? In regards to your blue or your purple. And you have to look at other scriptures that actually have various colors in it to see a distinction, right? And you'll be able to see these things in other verses and be able to figure it out for yourself. So I would say what you see there for that border of blue is like a bluish purple. But then it's also a reddish purple that we see here in Exodus 25:4 as well, right? When you get into it. So I don't have all my resources in front of me. I did a lesson on this in the past, but I'll probably have to do it again in more detail. But hopefully that begins to put you on the right path, okay? So his beautiful truth, that's a great question. It can help with asthma. It is good for maintenance and preventive maintenance, right? So if you are afflicted, you can take it, but it's not going to heal you right away, right? It's going to take some time in concordance with, everything else that you're doing to ensure that you're healthy again. But I recommend everybody get this now and take this now as a preventive measure. So if you are infected, you can have good lung health, so that way you won't succumb to the further pathology of the disease, right, or the virus, right? So hopefully that helps, family. Like I said, I was not planning to do this type of session. I was going to do my regular session, but I realized that this is a huge deal, a big deal right now on the media and our communities. And even though the virus is not killing a lot of people that would really cause concern for a real pandemic, you still can get infected by it. You can still succumb to it. And people you know and love can as well. But the biggest concern is the shutdowns, the quarantines, the bans. That to me is the biggest concern that is now affecting the livelihood of our communities. So this is why I teach the end state of Israelites should be autonomy. So when these things happen, we don't have to care, because we'll be able to take care of each other, govern each other, support each other, patronize each other. So we don't have to go outside of ourselves and rely at the mercy of the government, of the military, or whoever to help us or assist us, right? This is why we exist. So again, those of you who are interested on how KHM operates, if you want to join our organization, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com to get more behind the scenes insights on how we do things, get educated more on things so you can be an asset to the community. Email us so we can help you, or go and watch our KHM Orlando chapter event launch event video that we have up for a limited time, so you can see the transparency that we've given in that presentation, so you can understand what we're about. Right. So we're not just talking it, we're actually doing the work, right? Boots to the ground, and even on an online virtual level like this. And we're trying to set the standard for everybody else in the community right now. Great question. His beautiful truth. My next seminar that I'm going to do for free on this channel and on Naturopathic Eden's channel is going to be on asthma and allergies. Okay. Because eczema, asthma, and allergies are all interrelated. All right. So stay tuned for that. All right. Or if you want a consultation, email us at naturopathtoeden@gmail.com and we can set that up. All right. So Big Main, no, I do not teach the pre-existence of Yeshua Bar Yosef. I don't teach that. Okay. The essence that entered into him through baptism, that pre-existed. And then after death, there was a union. It fused with him. right? So that way he became one with that essence that was with the Most High, or was the extension of El, and doing things in the earth. Right. That's what I teach. And in that series, the last part, part 4 installment, I had to truncate that or give you the abridged version because I only had an hour to explicate all the details. But I will do a follow-up, I guess, live stream where I'll go more in detail about that. Right. Yes, the messenger. Correct. The messenger fused with him. So it empowered him via baptism, and then after death, it fused with him, right? So he took its place, right? So that's what I teach here, and I believe that that is a Hebraic perspective, given all the details of it, the Hebraic perspective of how to view that. Okay, all right. So I think I'm done for now, family. I think I'm done. I'm really tired. I have a little bit other work to do, but I thank y'all for tuning into this broadcast. Hopefully the information that was shared was vital, critical, and important to you guys. Bishop Marcial, I'll have to deal with that another time with you. Well, West Cat 5, it's going to be cheaper to travel now. I discovered that by just looking at the prices for flights out of Atlanta. But there will be less people, which means you'll have more distancing, which means technically it'll be safer to travel. But given the bans in various countries and the strict quarantine procedures that they're doing at the airports, it's not advised to travel internationally. If you can hold off on it, I would suggest you hold off on it unless it's an emergency. Because again, like I said, this is Judgment Week coming up. Monday's Judgment Day. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out this week that is going to shock a lot of people. So I would not take that chance. I was going to travel to go to New York, but I'm not going to take that chance. Right? Last week I was supposed to travel. Well, this weekend I was supposed to be in Dallas, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. And next weekend was going to be in New York, but that's not going to happen. Right? So if you don't have to travel, then don't. Most airlines are allowing people to cancel their flights, even if you have a non-refundable ticket, and get their money back. But even though it may be less people and safer to travel, I would still be concerned with when you get there, what is going to welcome you there once you get there? Are they now going to do different screenings? And if you just sneeze or cough, are they going to grab you up? And, I would just play it safe. That's all I would say. Right. Yes, Donnell Jones, he said, get stocked up for at least a month. I agree. At least 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days. Because remember, 2 weeks is the incubation period of the virus and the body responding to it and clearing it out. That's why they say 2 weeks. But get stocked up for as long as you can. You know what I'm saying? If you can. So I think I covered everything, family. Again, thank y'all for watching our Sundown Sunday session that we had, our coronavirus red alert special. I appreciate all of y'all for being here. Thank you, Yardinia Strong. Anytime, His Beautiful Truth. Thank you guys for supporting this channel. I appreciate y'all. If anybody want a last minute shout out, hit 1, and I'll give you a last minute shout out because I want people to know outside of us who is here making this channel great. All right, so hit 1 if you want a last minute shout out. I'm gonna go and finish some paperwork, then I'm gonna go get some sleep. And again, please, if y'all can donate to this GoFundMe, please donate to this GoFundMe so we can help more people. Shout out to Big Man in the building, Malak Daweed, my brother Yarden, Slow Flow the God, Tara Lael in the building, Shepo Dibaudu in the building. Hopefully I said your name right. Sorry if I butchered it a little bit. I'm a little tired. My brother Jetson Silencio, shalom to you as well. And I've shout out to my brother Brian Gate in the building. My brother right there. For the onboarding for Orlando, I postponed it. So if anybody's watching this, we've onboarded a few people, but we didn't get to onboard everybody. So it's been postponed. It's also pending all of this stuff that's going here now. But we're going to do slow onboarding process, get one person, 1 or 2 people a week or whatever. So we get everybody. and get y'all chapter up and running, because Orlando showed up and showed out. And I appreciate them for the love that they showed to come out and learn about KHM and what we have to offer. Okay. Shout out to William Love in the building. Yehoshua Shamar. Shalom to you and the family as well. And if that's all the shout outs, family, then I'm done. Thank you for watching. Please share this video everywhere. If you can, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Okay. And if you can give so we can help more people, please do. And I'll see you guys on our next live stream. Also, don't forget, sign up for our Patreon. The link is in the chat. All right. We have the book suggestions segment now, where you'll get insight into my personal library and access to read the books that I have. All right. And that's a benefit of people who are pledging on our Patreon. And we have tons of new stuff that we're going to be releasing on Patreon exclusively. So it's our VIP club, right? So if you get in on Patreon, there's VIP stuff in here that nobody else gets. And we are encouraging people to do that because the funds we raise goes towards helping other people in the community, and the R&D that we do here at KHM, and the events that we throw, and things that we're doing. Okay. So with that, family, much love. I love y'all, family. Thank you for your support. I appreciate y'all. Anytime. So beautiful. I'm here to serve the people. Shout out to Andrea Wright in the building. Thank you for being here as well. I pray that y'all get enough rest, that you're able to tackle Monday. It's going to be kind of tight, man. I'm telling you, buckle down, man, and prepare. You know, the next couple of weeks is going to be challenging for all of us. And all it's going to do is prove our mission, right? Our mission at KHM is to achieve autonomy with like-minded individuals. Okay. And this right here, you know, we have people out here say, yeah, this is biblical prophecy. Well, yeah, there's prophecies in the Bible that talk about plagues that's going to happen in the end days and all of that. Right. But the end is not nigh. Yeshua says the end is not yet nigh. So what are you doing to prepare in the interim until that time comes? You can't just be sitting down waiting for no Jesus to come out the sky. Like, nah, that's not how we get down. You know what I'm saying? We're proactive in the community and we're working towards autonomy. So when these things happen, we could be our own virus. We could be our own Goshen, right? We could be our own community that we've seen happen in Babylon and that we've seen also happen in Elephantine Island. You know what I'm saying? We can become these autonomous units that we can support each other and come to each other when we need help. And this is what KHM is here for. We're here to fill that void because we realize in the Israelite community, there's not a lot of options that offer that. So we want to be the change that we want to see. All right. I believe so, Lady Watt. I believe so. But you can just go to the Patreon. I'll post the link real quick again. Click on the link for Patreon and give it a shot and see. Y'all let me know. Give it a shot and see. Hopefully it works out for you. If it doesn't, then you can always email me and I'll see what we can do to help. The email, I'll put it in the chat. If you have any problems with anything. Also, if you're interested in our t-shirts, email us as well, and we'll let you know what we have in stock so that you can purchase a charity t-shirt so we can help people. All right. Donnell, yes, you can. The live chat will be available after the video ends. Okay. You said you didn't see a spot. I'm not sure what you mean, Lady Watt, but feel free to email me, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll see what I can do to assist you. Okay. All right. And I thank you for your support as well, sis. All right. So, family, thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Much love. Until we meet again, y'all buckle down, man. I'm going to try to see if I can do another live or two during the week as things develop. Yep. Death to dogma all day, every day. And then this upcoming Friday, hopefully things are not too severe that I can go back to our regularly scheduled program, because I had some things set up that I wanted to talk about for Freestyle Friday, but I'll just wait until then. But hopefully everything will die down. But if not, I'll try to go live sometime this week, give y'all an update, keep y'all abreast of what's going on, what y'all can do. And let's just do it together as a family, man. You know, and if you want to help other people and you can't do it yourself, you can do it through us, right? We can do it. You can do it vicariously through us. And if there's anything that we can do to serve you guys, to help you guys in a greater capacity, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and we'll do what we can. We're going to answer our inquiries as we receive them. So if you haven't gotten a response, just just have patience with us, right? We get a lot of requests every week, right? We try to go through as much as we can, help as many people as we can, but we need help, right? So if you want to join the organization to help us make a difference in your community, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and let's get it done. All right. So I love you, family. Thank you for watching. Peace and shalom.